welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing all well. Today's video is going to be a slightly different video. It might be informative to some or informative, but I've been watching Imogen or Imagination. I've been watching a lot of her story time, as well as Lucy Jessica Carter. I watched a few of her story times. FYI, one of the best YouTubers out there. But yeah, so I've been watching their story times, and I was kind of inspired to do my own. So yeah, so basically today's video is going to be me talking about or sharing my experience on how I got into the lab, or how I actually got into my lab job, because you all know these days, whatever degree you come out with, whatever training, whatever, educational background you have, it's not easy to get into what you actually want to get into. And for me, I thought the same, but it turned out to be completely different for me. So anyway, excuse my appearance. I know it's looking pretty bad, as well as my voice, but I have not been feeling well lately at all. But I still thought I'll make this video for you guys, because for me to make a video, especially a video like this, I have to be in the mood. If you know what I mean. And I'm filming in my bathroom because that's the best lighting I have. So let me tell you a bit of a background into what I actually graduated in. So I graduated in BSc Honours Biomedical Sciences. It was a 4-year course because I had done 2-year H&D, and then I topped it up to a degree because my initial educational background was a bit weak, and then therefore I couldn't get into the straight 3 years honours degrees. I had to do 2-year in H&D before I actually got into the degree. But that's another video. I'm gonna share that experience on how I graduated and all that. That's a completely different video. Today's just me talking about how I got into the lab. So, as I mentioned, I graduated in BSc Honours Biomedical Science with a 3rd class honours. I know, which is not the ideal result of any degree. You would expect to graduate with a 2-1 or 2-2 at least. But yeah, 3rd class is not, but it was either me taking it or leaving university after 4 years and having nothing. So yeah, but like I said, that's a completely different video I'm gonna discuss. So when I was in my final year of degree, like literally the final few months, I think at the time I was finishing off my final exams, my friend and my ex-classmate, because she graduated a year before me, I kind of fall back because I failed on some modules. So yeah, she phoned me up one day randomly, and she said, hey, guess what? I am currently working in a lab. I'm like, really? How? She said, one of my friends, she recommended me to this agency, and this agency is called Staff Bank. I don't know if you've heard of it, but yeah, I registered and they put me in a 6 weeks placement, and if my placement goes well, I'll be working in the lab. I'm like, way, good for you, I know you're gonna get there, because I know you're a lot more intellectual than I am, believe me, and a lot more hardworking. And she said, well, yeah, but how about you register with the agency, you get in contact with them, and there's a lady, I forgot her name, but she's actually a Bengali lady. You email her, get in touch with her, and say that you want to register with Staff Bank, and she might give you a 6-week placement. Now, I thought, okay, whatever, I'm not going to get it because I graduated with a 3rd class honours degree. Like, who would want to give me a placement in the lab, let alone a job? That's how my attitude was. So anyways, so she then called again, like a few days later or a week later, and she said, Sharma, have you registered with the agency like I told you? Did you get in touch with the lady? And I'm like, no. And she's like, why? She's like, get in touch with her, email her, this is your career, come on, you have to, like, at least try. So I was like, yeah, whatever. And then afterwards she kept persisting, and she just wouldn't leave me alone. Thank you, Mira, thank you for doing that. I appreciate you 100% for doing that for me, because I know how lazy I am when it comes to my profession and my career. Excuse me, guys, I need to sit, because we're going to be doing a lot of talking. So yeah, so then I finally emailed her. I think the lady's name was Roshan Begum, yes. So I finally emailed Roshan Begum, and I was waiting for her to get back to me. And then eventually she got back to me, and I was surprised. I was really surprised. Anyways, guys, in the meantime, Mira phoned me up and she said, hey, guess what? I finished my 6 weeks placement and I got a job in the lab. The supervisor of the department I was doing my placement with, she offered me 5 days full-time position. I was like, really? I was like, wow. You go, girl, you're way ahead, on top of everything, And she said, yes, but what about you? So anyways, so then Roshan then asked me to go and see her one day with all my documents, like my educational certificates and all that. It was in Whitechapel. So I went to Whitechapel. I was a few minutes late, and she was like, you're late. I'm like, I know, but it was the transport. And so I spoke to her, and she said, Staff Bank only recruits people from the borough of Tower Hamlet. We really don't recruit people from other boroughs. However, we might consider you. And Mira also told me that beforehand, and she said, she will say that, but believe me, she will take you on board. And she said, so that's what she said. And she said, can I see your educational certificates? I showed my educational certificates. And then she said, do you have your identification, proof of ID? I said, yeah, I have my driving license and my passport. She said, okay, can I see them? So she saw it. She saw that I was a British national, everything, but there was one slight downfall. My passport had run out. And when I mean run out, like the renewal date had run out. And at the time, we're talking 2013, I believe. Yeah. At the time, I haven't been out of the country for 7 years. And the last time I renewed my passport was back in 2001. So 2001 or 2002. So it was 10 years, and therefore the date had run out. So she said, no, I can't take you on board because your passport has run out. I'm like, yeah, but this is a British passport. This is me, I'm the proof. This, she said, I know, but I cannot take you with a like with an old passport. Basically, you have to have a valid passport. And she said, get your passport renewed and then come back to me. So I was like, oh, for a moment I thought, okay, I got it. I got the placement. So yeah. So obviously to renew a passport, I think you had to pay either £80 if you send in the application form, or 120 or 40 if you go in and get the passport done there and there. I took up the first come first serve, I think, where you actually go in and they do it for you on the day. But I had to manage that £140, so that took a while. But anyways, I managed to get the fund, book myself an appointment, and I remember that day I was rushing because where the passport office is, that's where I grew up. So I went thinking that's where the passport office is. But come to know, they moved the passport office to a different location within the area. So I hopped into the taxi. I said, quick, my appointment time is running out and they might not see me. And eventually I got into the black taxi, got there, got in time for my appointment, gave in my everything what I had to give in. They said, come back after 3 hours or 4 hours and we'll have your passport ready. So that whole day I basically spent getting my passport, which I eventually did. So then I contacted her again saying that I've renewed my passport. Now what? So she said, okay, come and see me. So I went and saw her. So then I went and saw her. She said, okay, now you have a valid passport, so we can take you on board. But before we do any of that, I need you to have a police check. I don't know whether it was a police check or something check, a criminal record check, I'm not sure, where I had to sit down and in the screen, she helped me complete it. And there was a few other bits and bobs I had to do myself while I was at home. That time, things were really rocky in my personal life. Most of the time I wasn't feeling well. Plus I took up a full-time job at my Tesco's. Yeah. So anyways, in the meantime, Mira contacted me again and she said, you know what, forget Roshan Begum. The lab is recruiting people now. Just contact Jill, who's the supervisor of the lab, of the reception, and go for an interview. And I'm like, okay, here I am doing the Roshan thing and now you're telling me to do another thing. She goes, no, forget about her. You know, this is your career we're talking about. I'm like, yeah, but I've already gone through halfway through the process and now you're telling me another thing. But I guess she just wanted me to get the job at any cost. She didn't want me to miss out the appointment. So I said, okay. So I sneakily went for the interview that day, and they sat me down and I met Jill and Janet, who were both the supervisors in the lab. I met all the people who were working at the reception, Rocky, Shahana, yeah. And so, alhamdulillah, the interview went so well. Like, they were surprised how confident I sounded. I was ready to take on this job, and they had no choice but to give me the job. So they gave me the job. Now, this was a longer process than me doing the placement and getting the job there and there, because that was a quicker way of me getting the job. Whereas this way where I went and had an interview, they were like, okay, you got the job, but we'll contact you when we need you. Do you know what I mean? It was still understaffed bank, but if with Roshan, it was a lot more quicker and I was guaranteed a position basically. And so I went back, didn't hear anything from Jill or Janet. And in the meantime, Roshan contacted me and she said, hey, I have your placement ready. When do you want to start? And I was like, well, I went for an interview and I already got the job. And she was like, what? She was like, why? She was like, no, this is not how it works. If you register with me, it's a lot more quicker, believe me. And she said, who told you? I'm like, it was Mira. And she was like, Mira? And she said, you're lucky that you still have a placement, because I'm still going to give you a placement, but the way you went ahead, the way you done about, is not the right way. And so she then called up Mira and she said, why did you tell Sharma to go and see Jill? I already got things ready for her and she's ready to be put on a placement. So why did you, and Mira got scared as well, because that time she just got the job. And she just was made permanent at her job. And Roshan also contacted Jill and she said, I believe Sharma came to see you and he gave her the job. However, I'm already in the process of registering her and putting her in a placement, because that way I believe is quicker for her. Anyway, eventually she forgave me and I started my placement. It was a 6 weeks placement. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to call it chapter 1 and stay tuned for chapter 2 of me doing my placement, getting a job, how it all went, my 1 year experience, all that shebang. I'm going to talk to you in the second part of the video. Till next time, take care guys.